We have a problem. I think I like the 13-inch M1 MacBook Air more than my 16-inch MacBook Pro. Why? Well, I'm not exactly sure. I can't put a finger on it. It might be because it outperforms the MacBook Pro in Geekbench scores, or that the battery life on it is fantastic and I have yet to charge it, or that it's much lighter than my 16-inch. I don't know, but let's take a peek at the M1 and you can make the decision for yourself. So first off, my MacBook Air is the absolute base model you could purchase from Apple. It has an 8-core CPU and a 7-core GPU. But that doesn't hold this device back. It has been incredible. I have run Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, and Premiere on this machine. Granted, Premiere still runs the Intel code through a process called Rosetta 2, and that is Apple's emulation software to run Premiere as if it were running on an Intel machine. And so we'll get into how footage runs on this machine here shortly, but let's talk about this M1 chip. It's a system on a chip. It has both the CPU and the GPU on the chip, along with what Apple's calling unified memory.
M1 also features our Unified Memory Architecture, or UMA. M1 unifies its high bandwidth, low latency memory into a single pool within a custom package. As a result, all of the technologies in the SoC can access the same data without copying it between multiple pools of memory. This dramatically improves performance and power efficiency.
So you can have 8 or 16 gigabytes of unified memory, which is combined RAM that is on the chip. So unfortunately, you can't upgrade it after purchasing the device because it's built into the chip and therefore you can't upgrade it. It also has a 16-core neural engine.
The entire M1 chip is designed to excel at machine learning, and tasks like video analysis, voice recognition, and image processing will have a level of performance never seen before on the Mac.
Now, most people are not going to care about this neural engine. Where it helps is in like photography programs such as Photoshop or Affinity Photo, where you're making edits and there can be machine learning going on, and that neural engine is only going to get better. My device has a 7-core GPU. It's essentially the same chip as what's in all the rest of the devices, but due to binning, and binning is a process where they test the chip and decide that one of the cores may not work properly. It's still a fantastic chip. Apple still should sell it, but it's just not as good as the 8-core chips. So they're essentially being able to use more of their chips that are created through this binning process by putting a 7-core GPU chip in this MacBook Air. Now, this Air is not limited at all. It does just as well as my 16-inch MacBook Pro in a tiny package. And did I mention it's fanless? Yeah, the MacBook Air has no fan. And so I've run Cinebench on it, and this machine does not get hot. I ran Cinebench on my 16-inch MacBook Pro. Granted, Cinebench does run better on the 16-inch MacBook Pro with its 8-core i9, but the fans were running rampant and going crazy. I've run red RAW footage on this MacBook Air, and there's the 8K footage does have some issues. 4K footage runs fantastic in both DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut. But let me tell you a story. Well, the story of this machine. I got this machine last night and started on my thoughts for this video. Started writing out the script. I started testing things. I did not plug the machine into power. I've yet to plug the machine into power. It's at 36%. Now, I think I will have to plug it in while I edit this video, but I plan on editing this video in Premiere on my MacBook Air. Future David cutting in here. Premiere Pro on the M1 MacBook Air just couldn't cut it. So I'm on my 16-inch MacBook Pro. The fact that Premiere runs on Intel so much better, it's a thing, and it just means that I'm not getting rid of my 16-inch just yet. So on with the video. But getting back to the tech specs. It has 8 cores. 4 of them are high efficiency, which are used when you're web browsing or doing Word or light tasks that don't need to be CPU intensive.
M1 brings high efficiency cores to the Mac. They use 1/10 of the power while still delivering outstanding performance. These E-cores are the most efficient place to run lightweight tasks and allow the performance cores to be used for the most demanding workloads. And M1 has 4 of these efficiency cores, which on their own deliver similar performance as the current generation dual-core MacBook Air at much lower power.
Then you add 4 power cores onto it, and this thing's a beast.
The incredible performance of M1 starts with the CPU, which features 2 types of cores, high performance and high efficiency. Each performance core is designed to run a single task or thread as efficiently as possible while maximizing performance. We've been advancing it year after year. And now with the huge improvements in M1, when it comes to low-power silicon, our high-performance core is the world's fastest CPU core. And M1 has 4 of these incredibly fast high-performance cores. So multi-threaded workloads take a huge leap in performance as well.
Like Geekbench scores, it trounces all Mac laptops, all Intel Macs, all Intel Mac laptops. The only things that beat it out are the Mac Pro, an iMac Pro, an i9 iMac. That's saying something about these devices. They are the absolute floor, the lowest end that will ever be of the M1 chips. And they get better battery life than the previous models. So do I suggest you buy one? If you're looking to run dual monitors, like you can see I have behind me, I'd say only if you can get the Mac Mini, because that's the only device that can handle dual monitors. But for any other reasons, if you're truly graphics intensive, which this device handles 4K footage, possibly better than my 16-inch MacBook Pro. If you need crazy intense workloads, maybe wait till the next chip comes out, because this, like I said, this is the lowest end and the worst performing chip of Apple Silicon that Apple will ever come out with. To think about what's coming next is insane. What Apple's hopefully gonna come out with is gonna blow the pants off anything Intel and potentially even AMD. So the future is bright for these chips and these devices. I will say I'm keeping my M1 MacBook Air, and it probably will work its way into my backpack faster than my 16-inch has. It works just as well, if not better. It has better battery life. The only downside is that smaller screen, but with it being a Retina MacBook Pro, I can handle that. And I can run native iOS apps. Now granted, there aren't many there, but I think it's going to make app developers think long and hard about should their devices be on the Mac, should they be only on iOS. I think for the consumer, this is a fantastic move. For Apple, this is a fantastic move. And moving forward, I mean, you can't tell any difference between a M1 MacBook Air and an Intel MacBook Air. But as you can see from side by side, yeah, you can't tell a difference. But you can when you open them up. So I think if you're in the market for a new machine, this is a great machine for you. If you're not in the market for a new machine, this still is a great machine for you, unless you're a pro user. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications on when I post a new one. We'll see you in the next one.